Hey guys, how are we? Anthony here from Awaken Lifestyles. Really excited to be here with you today and presenting this training with you, the 3 steps to inner fulfillment without giving up on external success. I guess my intention for today is honestly just to blow your mind. Like the content that we're going to be sharing with you guys, the content that you're going to be getting here today is literally life changing. We've seen that with thousands of clients now. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to muck around. So we're just going to get straight into it. First and foremost, a lot of people do webinars all the time. Like there's webinars and videos all over Facebook, all over, Instagram, social media, turning up in our inboxes. And if you're like me, you're really busy. And people send this stuff and sometimes go, should I watch it? Should I not? Is this going to be worth my time? And I just want to share with you guys that I'm a bit of an efficiency freak. I hate sitting on webinars that kind of go nowhere. Today, I'm going to be giving you some of our best teachings for free, like straight up. Teachings that we've worked with very high paying corporate clients for us to come into there and teach their teams. I'm going to be sharing with you today the stuff that they kind of give us the feedback on at the end of the series and go, wow, that was what I got from it. Wow, that really blew my mind. Wow, that's really changed my life. So you guys are going to be getting that today. Okay, I know you've got a to-do list longer than your arm, so I do really appreciate you being here. And so I'm going to give you my best, I guess is what I'm saying. I guarantee that this is going to give you some major insights before you leave, like proper. Like I'm not just talking it up, just wait and see, I guess is what I'm saying. The other thing that when we do trainings, a lot of people watch inspirational videos or speakers, or they go to presentations and they might be cool, and I might leave and go, wow, that was really helpful. Wow, that was really great. But if I can't actually apply it into my life, then it was just a cool story that I heard or a cool presentation. And as you guys would know, you kind of leave 2-3 days later and you've forgotten everything. Today, you're going to have stuff that you can actually apply, stuff that's going to change you for stuff that you can't unlearn. All right. Yeah. And I'm also going to show you guys through this some successful people that have been through our program or that are following the things that I'm going to be teaching you, showing you some high functioning humans that have gone through our process, through our pathway, and the results that they can expect or do get or that you could expect by following our system, by following our program. So this is, pretty damn exciting. Some feedback over the this is actually just over the weekend. I got some messages come through. We put up a post from one of our coaches, Em, and we got some amazing kind of messages come through. This was to my Instagram from the Wellness Babe. Basically, it's just saying, talking about one of our coaches, one of our inner work coaches in the company, Em, saying, I'm so grateful that mine and Em's paths have crossed. She's the most amazing coach. Facilitated growth in me that I never even knew was possible. And that's something we're really, really big on here, right? Thank you for introducing me to her and Awaken Lifestyles. It has truly changed my life. How good is that? That makes me so happy. And I can't rave to you enough about the impact Emma has had on my life. So again, Em, we put up a post about Emma. She shared a bit of her story, which is when you guys hear it, you'll fall off your chair. That's not in today's presentation. I don't tell a story for her, but if and when you did hear that, you will fall off your chair. Signing up with you guys is one of the best things I've ever done. I can honestly say life could not get any better for me right now. This happiness has transferred into my family life, friendship, and work. My head is finally clear. Thank you. Guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the stuff that these two ladies have experienced themselves, right? On Sunday, we got this message from Phil. So this is Phil on top of his house. He lives here in Brisbane. He has a sick apartment in the city, and he sent us this incredible, I guess, testimonial the other day. And he was saying, I met Anne and Eve at a BHP corporate presentation that we facilitated. At the time, I was in a position where I was on Valium and antidepressants from being worked until I literally couldn't function, shaking at my work desk in a full-time job, and having not long ended a toxic relationship. This was leaving me as a full-time parent, single parent, to preteen children with no support network and no idea how to deal with what the future held. I was 100% the definition of bent right out of shape. I think that's putting it mildly, but yeah. He tried the free executive psychology program. So as part of his workplace, they have a free executive psychology program where they go to, free sessions with psychologists, and Phil felt that he didn't get the connection that he wanted. After, I guess, our presentation, he immediately signed up for the free session. So part of that gig, we offered a free session. He thought he'd give it a crack, basically. some of the stuff that he's learned was these core values and why the anxiety comes when I don't listen to myself and align to them. Yeah, we dug up plenty of shit from my childhood, and I understand how that impacts my behaviors and reactions to situations. He's learned that poor diet habits weren't helping him mentally, and then now understands the importance of exercise and meditation are in my life. I now know that putting myself first is necessary. As cruel as this sounds to me, he feels like the typical dad that does everything for his kids and looks after everyone else before himself. I don't know if anyone can relate. But that this actually makes him a better person, a better father, a better leader, and a better co-worker. Now nearing the end of his 6-month program with us, somewhere along the way he's come off the pills. And just to be clear, guys, that's not something we specifically do. We don't market that we help people come off antidepressants. We have worked with quite a number of people that have done that. That's always with the care of their doctor. We're not doctors, we're not pretending to be doctors, but we can definitely help support people build a life where they perhaps might not need to take medication, right? It's it's so touching, and I spoke to Phil, and I know he's been promoted at least once since starting the program with us. And I spoke to him yesterday morning, and he was saying he was writing this, and he was basically, he didn't know what to say. Like he said, he was in tears writing it, and it was really cool because he wasn't afraid of that because he had his kids there, and it's really nice coming from his background. If you knew the guy, that's a massive, massive, massive deal, you know. He also understands his limitations of accessible output, so he doesn't ever burn out anymore. This was a guy that was burning out all the time. I'm a better father than I could have ever been. It's hard being a teenager in today's society, so talking about his kids. I have no idea how to give back or say thank you for giving me my life back, except to show other people around me there is another way to never give up. And so on that, I would just say, we didn't do it for you, Phil, you did it, mate, but massive, massive respect. Moving forward, guys, 2 things I'm going to ask of you. Number 1 is please stay until the end. All right, you've started now. Jumping off is just going to make this another thing where you just killed a bit of time and didn't make any progress. So please, please, please stay till the end. I promise I'll make it worth your while. Number 2, or I guess for everyone rather who's going to stay to the end, you're going to get a copy of our Desires workbook. Yeah, this is, I think it's like a 40 or 50 page workbook that we put together specifically for clients that come on our high-end retreat. So we run luxury high-end retreats. We were running them in Bali for a couple of years. And we're going to give you guys a copy of that. Like anyone who's done that, fills it out, comes back feeling really, really clear, feels like they've been on a retreat, right? So that's something you guys are going to get for free for staying to the end. The second thing I want us to do is to make a bit of an agreement right here and right now, right? And that agreement is that because I'm going to give you our best work for free, if you hear something, if you go, you know what, and look, let's be honest, something's brought you here in the first place. Like for me to have got your attention online, for me to have, sent you here through maybe a Facebook post or a Facebook ad or an Instagram post, and for you to be here watching this, there's something inside of you that has called you here, right? What I'm going to ask you guys is that if that thing comes up for you, if in this presentation you connect with something, I want you to be willing to take some action on that. Yeah, because again, it's nice to have insight, it's nice to have awareness, it's nice to learn stuff, but unless I can actually apply it and I'm willing to apply it, then it's just another cool story that I heard, right? So at the end of this, I will give you an opportunity to take this further with us. I'm not going to sell you anything. You're not going to need your credit card. I promise. We're not that company. I hate that actually about our industry sometimes, but yeah, I will give you an opportunity to further with us if you have that feeling, but I want us to agree on that now. Okay, so because I'm going to give you everything that I can, if it resonates for you, then I want you to reciprocate by let's just try and apply that in your life. Okay, and I'll give you a chance to do that. Moving on, guys, who the hell is this guy? So who am I other than the guy who's talking to you today? So my name's Anthony Nowd. I am the director or co-director of Awaken Lifestyles. This is my partner, Eve. She's my partner in life. She's the mother of my son and also business partner. This was us in Italy last year, or me in Italy last year. She took the photo. I absolutely love my food. I absolutely love my coffee. To be honest, guys, I'm a bit of a freak about optimizing human performance. Like I just love humans being their best. Yeah, that's physically, that's mentally, that's emotionally. For me, it's all about, I was sharing with someone yesterday or the day before. I remember being a teenager and waking up one morning and coming out and seeing the newspaper. And for those of us in Queensland, that was the day after the State of Origin, which is like a big footy match. And Queensland had won the State of Origin. And I saw the front page. It was like the whole team cheering, yeah, this is amazing. And I saw it and it brought a tear to my eye. And I didn't particularly love footy, you know, like I watch it from time to time, but I didn't particularly love it. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I'm seeing this footy, I'm seeing all these, you know, footy players. So does that mean I want to be a football player? Is that my purpose here? And at the time, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, if I was honest. I was like, what was that about? Is that indicating that I want to play football? And what I've come to learn over the years is that it wasn't about the football that made, you know, brought a tear to my eye. It was the fact seeing humans being their best. You know, it was the fact that I was seeing humans celebrate, I guess, just being alive and reaching their full potential. That is what the hell I am about. And that's what we're about here at Awaken Lifestyles. It's helping you overcome anything that's stopping you from reaching that. So that's our Facebook page, guys. That's my personal Instagram there. It's Anthony Inner Work, all one word. Anthony Inner Work, just like you can see down here. Yeah, we put out lots of good content on those channels. And this is a photo of me with our newborn son, Axwell. He is 13 and a half weeks today. And yeah, life-changing the way, you know, humans are. Anyone who's had a human can attest. A little bit about the company, guys, really quickly. We've been in the market for 8 years plus, so we're not new to this. We've got results for thousands of clients from all over the globe, places like Belgium, London, India, the States, Canada, Asian countries. Yeah, everywhere. Many clients in Australia. We're based in Brisbane physically, but we work with clients everywhere. I personally do speaking, corporate trainings, and ambassadorship and mentorship work. We run programs for the Queensland government, challenges with, you know, within Snap Fitness with like 3,000 plus participants at a time. Lots of other corporate gigs for kind of big names. So we've been around a little while, and we've got a name in the market as actually delivering what we say we do. That aside, what that means for you in a one-on-one sense, what we're most, I guess, passionate about is helping high-functioning humans who are seeking external success yet stuck in their heads and sick of holding themselves back, right? So we want that person who's high-functioning, that wants to, you know, I guess, reach their best, or is looking outside of themselves to have more, do more, be more, but inside they're feeling a little bit dissatisfied or perhaps a little bit empty. That is not okay for us. That is not okay for me. And that's something that we definitely want to change. So like I said, I mean, and high functioning humans who go, oh, does that mean I have to earn a certain amount of money or be a particular professional? And no, I mean, we do work with a lot of professionals, but that's not what we're talking about. What high functioning means, it means that you've actually been through some hard shit in your life and you've demonstrated an ability to overcome it. And it doesn't matter what that hard stuff is. It might be a relationship breakdown. It might be some sort of it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It could be trauma at one end of the scale, or just like family distress at another end of the scale, or, you know, kind of doing all the things that I should be doing in my life. So, you know, achieved all the things that I thought I was supposed to achieve, you know, maybe the degree and the promotion and the job and the house and the car and the kids and the family and the whatever. And then something inside makes me feel like I'm not completely satisfied or not completely whole. And that makes you a high functioning human. Having been through anything really tough in your life makes you a high functioning human. And that's the type of client we work with. It's not so much about the thing that you're wanting to work through, because they're endless, like we said. What it is that bonds us is our desire to better ourselves, to experience more richness, connection, happiness, and contentment from our lives. That's the thing that makes our inner workers within our Awaken Lifestyles program connect. And it's so amazing the way we do that. And I guess, guys, just to kind of talk about the pink elephant in the room, is nobody kind of killing it in every single area of their life or totally happy and content decides to jump on a webinar about how to change my life. So I guess if you're here, there's stuff that you want to shift, there's stuff that you want to change, and I want to say that you are absolutely 100% in the right place, okay? So yeah, sick of having that mind that never quits thinking, you know, or bullies us or comparing us to other people or wanting more. That's the typical kind of stuff that people would come to us with, or sick of postponing our happiness to a future date. You know, like I know some of the stuff that I hear so often is I've just done all the stuff that I was supposed to do in life. And, you know, like when I was in a preschool, or when I was in high school rather, my head told me, you know what? It's going to be so good when I get to uni. Uni's going to be awesome. I'm going to be free, you know, and I'll get to, you know, study whatever I want. And I can go to the bar and it'll be fun, and we can go to parties and blah, blah, blah. And then you get to university and it's cool. It's better, you know, it's enjoyable for most. And I study really hard and I achieve all the stuff, and I go to the bar and I probably party a little bit too much. But then my head says, you know what, you're at uni now. Now you need to get a job, you know, and then so we're postponing that happiness, and we get the job, and then we get it to the job. It's like, this is cool because now I'm going to be making money. It's going to be awesome. And you turn up at the job, and then you realize I'm at the bottom of the pack. And now my mind says, oh, so you got the job, but now you need the promotion so you can buy the house. And then you get the house, and now we need the holiday house. And now we need the next and the next and the next. And it's not necessarily just material things that might even be within ourselves, but for many people, it's that postponement of, you know, that fulfillment or that contentment that never quite comes, or it's never quite like the postcard, right? Sick of knowing deep down that we're destined for more, but not honoring it. Like, that's something I hear a lot of, and that's something that's just not okay for me. You know, knowing inside that I have a purpose that I'm either not connected to or that I'm too scared to follow, like, not cool, guys, because, you know, when you're sitting on your deathbed looking back at your life, what are you going to wish happened? And I guess that's what we're here to help you with. Another one we hear would be sick of feeling alone because we're disconnected within ourselves or our relationships. So again, things might look good from the outside, but inside not feeling so great. Or we might have all the external stuff sorted, but I don't have that relationship with myself or a significant other or my family, perhaps. You know, and I guess what I want to touch on before I get into the content, guys, which is just in a sec, is that I actually get this stuff. Like, I was there myself, and it's really, really, really important, I believe, that we share that and that you guys know that, because I know for me growing up, I used to see experts, you know, or they come and talk to us at school or whatever, or, you know, outside of that, and I go, man, but what do you know? You don't understand my life. And so I guess, you know, who am I to teach this stuff? Growing up, I was the overweight kid, always capable, but I guess began doubting myself, you know, like I remember being told, you know, you've got so much ability, but inside I just had this fear that I'd be holding myself back, you know. Not fear that I'd be holding myself, I would hold myself back due to fear, you know, having this feeling that, worried about what other people thought about me, worried, I guess scared of what might happen if I really put myself out there and really went for it, you know, that fear of failure stuff, being really sensitive inside and consumed about what other people thought about me. That kind of, at the time, didn't feel like it ruled my life, but now being out of it, wow, that absolutely did rule my life, you know. And I had a mind that would constantly tell me that I needed to be different somehow in order to feel okay, you know. So, and this literally blows my mind even when I think about it now. But growing up, I had this head that just told me, you know, you're fat, you know, you need to lose weight. And I just would agree. I'd say, yeah, you do. You know, and you need to be able to date really hot chicks. And you know, yeah, you do. You need to find a healthy relationship. Yeah, you do. You need to make more money. Yeah, you do. You need to achieve stuff. You need to be better at all this stuff. And I would just agree with it. Like, my mind would just agree with it and just say, yeah, you do. And it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I realized that, you know, while that felt really normal and that was just my experience of life, that actually isn't normal. It's not normal to have a head that's constantly comparing, shaming, blaming, judging, or criticizing me, or, you know, telling me that I need to be more, do more, have more. Like, that's not helpful. And for me, it left me with this sense, like this deep-seated feeling or sense that as I am, I'm just not quite enough, you know, or somehow flawed and defective as a human, or unlovable, you know. And that drove me to really unpleasant places in my life, you know. It's difficult to describe to you guys the change, so I use a photo often to kind of show you the visual change. Like, this was where I was, and like I said to you guys, this was I felt so poorly about myself that there's no way in the world I would have got in front of a camera. So I probably lost, and I don't know weight, but maybe 10, 15 kilos by this stage before taking this photo. And this is where I kind of knew this is going to happen. Like, I'm going to pull this off. And then this was, the result of, I guess, beginning to do my inner work, which I'm going to describe to you how you can actually begin doing that yourself from today in a moment. And this isn't a body transformation program, guys, but this is just a cool visual. This is just a way that we can actually physically see and tangibly see what happens when people actually start doing their inner work. What happens when they start looking from the inside out rather than the outside in. That's kind of the G-rated version of this story. For those of you guys that don't know, prior to this guy on the left here, I was also a heroin addict as a teenager. That feeling of not good enough really got me to the point where I was just like, you know what, if you guys don't love me as I am, then screw you. I'll show you how naughty I can be, how much I can rebel, And so I kind of, like I do everything in my life, I went really, really hard with that, and ended up in all the places that, heroin addicts and drug addicts end up, doing all the things that they did, feeling really, really unhappy and unhealthy, and like I wanted to die, to be really honest with you guys. And so the point of me sharing this, guys, isn't to go, wow, look at me, I'm so good, I've changed my life, but it's to go, you know what, I've come from a really low base. Like, I came from a base where when I got kicked out of a rehab facility, I wrote down three worldly goals of mine. One of them was to maybe one day have a job. Second one was to hopefully one day be able to have a girlfriend. And third was to maybe one day own a car, any car. And that was literally like my life's, like in the rehab, write goals, lifelong goals for your life. And that was what I came up with, and I wrote that list and smashed it out of the park. Like, I've nailed all of those goals, to infinity and far beyond. And my life now feels like that used to be a movie that I watched or something. But I guess the whole point of me sharing that, guys, is that if you're in an area of your life now and you feel stuck, I want you to know that it is absolutely 100% possible, if you're willing to do the work, to reach whatever it is that you want. And this guy over here wouldn't have believed that. He might have had just a little spark inside, a tiny little spark inside that went, maybe, I don't know, there's some doubt, I'll do what I'm told. And if you guys can just apply that little bit of willingness, I'll just do what I'm told, or I'm willing just to listen for that little bit more, you'll be absolutely amazed at what can change for you. Okay? Why do we do this, guys? So for most of us, we've been taught an outside-in approach to finding happiness. It's when I get all the externals of my life right, when everything just goes just so, when I get the job and the house and the relationship and the, finances in order and whatever it might be, then I'm going to be happy. Like we said, when I get the house, or when I get the car, when I get to go on that holiday, and hands up who's kind of already experienced this or experiencing this, where you've probably nailed a few of these goals, but it wasn't quite like you had said it was going to be. Like we say, it's not like the postcard, like, when I know for me, that was certainly a thing. Like, I ended up getting my dream car, and it was awesome. It was amazing. Like, it blew my mind for about 3 months. And then it was like, oh, there's a new version coming out. And, oh, there's people with this nicer cars now, and this is cool, I love it, but it's not quite hitting the spot, or going on the holiday and being there and having all the selfies and making it look amazing, and from Instagram, Facebook, it looked the bomb, but inside kind of going, oh, I don't feel deeply fulfilled and deeply connected now like my head said I would when I was going to be in this picture right here. And so if you have that experience, guys, you're probably doing what you were taught very, very well and very, very successfully. When I get the perfect relationship, when I get that promotion, then I'm finally going to be happy, right, and content. Now, I want to be really, really clear. We are not a woo-woo company where we want you to sell all your possessions and move to Byron Bay and just meditate all day. That is not what we're about. I think these are all really worthy goals. If you want all the externals, I think that is great if it's going to bring you meaning to your life and some level of joy. However, placing all of these things or making all of these things the sole focus of my life in order to then feel happy will probably lead to suffering. Not probably, it will most certainly lead to suffering. right? If we can do the inner work and feel happy and content within myself to start with, so rather than working from the outside in, when I get the outsides right, then I feel happy. If we flip that on a script and go, you know what, I'm going to work from the inside out, I'm actually going to like myself first. I'm going to learn to love myself first. I'm going to make peace with all that stuff that I don't like about me. Then from that place, go on the holiday, go have the house, go have the car, go build a relationship, go build a 15 relationship. I don't really care, right? Do whatever it is that's right for you. Totally worthy, totally amazing goal. And then you can actually have it all. Like like what I was saying, we have more stuff than ever. We have more access to services, work-life balance. That wasn't a thing 2 decades ago. Now people talk about it all the time, but no one seems to be feeling any more balanced, right? We have more money than ever. It isn't working, guys. This outside-in approach does not work. This is the problem. That we're looking for inner fulfillment by chasing things outside of ourselves. This kind of blew my mind. And do you guys know what the leading cause of death for Australians aged between 15 and 44 is? Leading cause of death. I thought it might be some sort of heart disease or stroke or maybe even car crashes or something like that. And when I learned this, it kind of shocked me, I guess. I mean, really shocked me. And the answer is that suicide is the leading cause of death for Australians aged 15 to 44. Nothing kills us more than suicide, than ourselves. The rates are at their highest in 10 years, even though we've got a better quality of life than we've ever had. Suicide attempts, so not actual suicide, but attempts are approximately 65,000 per year. That's 1,200 a week, people attempting to end their lives. That is just absolutely not okay with me. Not okay at all. Anxiety levels are at an all-time high. And it's estimated that 45% of Aussies will experience mental health condition in their lifetime. And by mental health condition, guys, this is really important because mental health kind of gets that stigma. It's like, oh, mental health, and we think of people that are, medicated or sedated or maybe in psychiatric units or something. And that's not what we're talking about. The mental health is a continuum. On one end, there's fully optimized, feeling great health. On the other end, there's, mental illness. And most of us live fluctuating along that line. Right? Depending on the day, I can be back here somewhere, and then other days I can be up here. And most of us, that's what we talk about mental health. And this isn't a mental health presentation, guys. This isn't about mental health awareness. You guys are high functioning humans already. You might have struggles. You might know people have struggles, and that is cool. We all have mental health issues, right? In the way that we define mental health. Same way most of us have all of us have physical health issues. Same thing, right? I guess the point of me sharing this is that if we keep doing what the masses are doing, so looking from the outside in, then the best we can expect is to be dissatisfied. If what the rest of the world is doing is looking outside in, and what that's getting us is anxiety, dissatisfaction, discontentment, divorces, in the extreme cases, suicide attempts and suicide, like if that's where this is leading, you and I both know this isn't the answer, right? Like doing this is like rearranging the furniture of my life. And I see this so often, people trying to rearrange the furniture of their life. Like if I just go on a quick holiday, and if I come back and I exercise more and I lose those few kilos and I do whatever, I was like rearranging the furniture of my life while the house is actually on fire. What we talk about is let's build a foundation on the exact dream home that you want, i.e. dream life, i.e. dream self. Because that's when the real change happens, and the answer is, guys, to live from that inside out. And that's what we call inner work. So inner work is, when your insides match your outsides. It's, doing the thing, having it all. We are about having it all. It is possible to have inner peace and external success. No longer postponing my happiness because that's not cool. We all have had that experience going through schooling or going through tertiary education or whatever it might be. When I get to that next thing, then I'll allow myself to be happy. It's feeling safe to be yourself. So powerful, because for most of us, we don't feel okay to just be me. Or we might feel okay in certain areas of our lives, but in other areas we hold ourselves back. And I promise you, you are paying an emotional price for that. Okay, liking who you see in the mirror and not caring what others think. So freeing. I remember having that moment myself in Bali, standing in the mirror. So powerful. like literally so powerful. And the result, guys, is that it awakens the body, mind, and spirit to a certain type of living only available by doing inner work. It's like a new level within your life that you didn't know existed, you know, and that results in being happy and content every single day. What does that look like in real life, guys? This is Jono. He is a previous client of ours. When he came to me, he was the general manager of Audi and Lamborghini here in Brisbane. I think he was also doing Bentley at the time. You know, struggling to find life balance, didn't realize the impact it was having on me and those around me. Basically, in a sentence, working with Awakened Lifestyles has become the most reliable framework and foundation upon which I can build a better me. So while working with us, he actually got promoted to the dealer principal, for which in the car game is like the highest position you can have for Audi and Lamborghini in Brisbane, constantly flying around the world for work. He's actually since left that role and started his own, you know, found his purpose, found his passion, and now started his own pretty massive company. Which is somewhat in that industry. So, and just so amazing to see clients go through that transformation. Other testimonials from Amanda, you know, kind of saying that this has been really transformational. And this is someone who already works in the transformation space. Kirsty saying, you know, she did a program with us saying, I've learned that crying is not a sign of weakness or failure, and that instead it's a so that's that safe to be yourself stuff, guys. Highly recommend, totally worth it to put yourself first. So what you're about to learn, guys, and this is stuff you can't unlearn, number one, and these 3 things I promise will change your life. The real reason we struggle to maintain any positive change in our lives, this literally, just that alone, if you take nothing away but number 1, going to change your life. Number 2, how to take charge of your mindset. Right? So why you're stuck in your head and why it's not your fault, and why your fears are controlling you. So let's get into it. If you do not have a pen, please grab one now, because I'm going to get into the content now, and I'm just going to go, I'm just going to move quite quickly, guys. So if you don't have a pen, please grab one now. This is going to be worth writing down. Absolutely, promise you. So level 1, know yourself. And this is from our 4-step method. So we have 4 levels in our program, guys. And level 1 is what we call getting to know yourself. And this is what most people are doing wrong when it comes to trying to better themselves. I haven't had many original thoughts, guys, but one of them is that if beating yourself up was going to work, it would have by now. And this is pretty pertinent, pretty relevant to what I'm about to share with you guys. So I assume if you're a high-functioning human, you've seen this before, this carrot or stick motivation, or you probably heard of carrot or stick motivation, and the age-old question is, what is it that motivates the person to do the thing? So here's the guy that we'll presume the boss is trying to get him to motivate, and the question is, what motivates him to take action? Is it the stick that he's about to beat him with, or in this case, spikes that he's about to stab him with, or is it the carrot that they dangle in front that is going to motivate the human being, right? And I guess the answer is both. Is it, wow, I'm going to get beaten up for not doing this thing, or I'm going to get in trouble for not doing this thing, or is it the reward that I'm going to get if I do this thing? And the answer is both. But before we get into that, because that carrot or stick analogy is overdone, I guess my real question is, what is the thing that we are moving towards, that we want to be motivated to do? In every single case, what are we trying to get motivation for? Or what are we trying to move toward in every single case? It doesn't matter whether the goal is, I need motivation for my body or my health, or whether I need motivation for my career or my relationship. Like, the thing we are moving towards in every single case is a feeling. So damn important, guys. Like, so damn important. Just consider every single goal, every single choice you have ever made in your entire life. And this will, when you deeply understand this, your life will change. Every single choice you have ever made in your entire life was to move toward a pleasant feeling and or away from an unpleasant feeling. So just think about that for a second, because it's going to make sense. So this is the away from motivation. This is away from an unpleasant feeling. So this fire, let's call this your pain. Okay, this is your pain. This is the thing that's driven you to get on the call today. This is the thing that you want to take action around. This is the thing that's causing you emotional pain in your life that you want to change. Yeah. This here is you. Now, for most of us, we want to get away from the pain. That just makes sense. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, wow, I can't wait to have a really shit day today, right? Nobody wakes up and goes, I can't wait for everything to go wrong. Like, that's not healthy. That's not what we would consider normal. So it makes sense that we want to get away from this pain. Now, if I use weight loss as a bit of an analogy because it fits well here, but it's not necessarily a goal. Let's say I start here. And let's say I want to lose 10 kilos. I want to get away from this body that I don't like because it sucks and I feel gross and I want to change and I want to lose a couple of kilos. And man, I just wish I could get it off. So I'm going to start a diet. Right, I'm going to start a diet. So I start a diet. I want to lose 10 kilos and I lose 1 and I lose 2 and I lose 3 and follow my cursor as I'm going across. And I really want to lose 10 kilos. I really want to lose 10 kilos. What happens to about 99% of people is that they start moving away from the pain by losing a few kilos, and they might get to here. Right? They might get to say here. I get to this point and let's call it here. And as I'm moving away, I get to this point here, and what happens is the fire's no longer burning at my heels. That pain is no longer intense anymore. And so I get exactly what I asked for, which is to go right back to the start. And I get to go right back to the start because the pain is no longer great enough. Does that make sense, guys? I can't get rid of that little arrow now. That is annoying. And so I come right back to the start here, which is exactly what I didn't want. Yeah. And now it's painful again. Okay, this time I'm going to get away. I want to lose 10 kilos. I want to lose 10 kilos. And I start a different diet, and I might lose 5 this time, and I might get to here. And guess what? Pain's not yapping at my feet anymore. It's no longer that important to me. I might just have a glass of wine, and I end up going straight back to the start. Now, most people stay here for their entire lives. Notice that there's no happiness. Notice that there's no joy. There's no long-term satisfaction here. There's just a little bit less pain or back to really painful. A little bit less pain, back to really painful. I mean, hands up, guys, who has experienced this before, where I get a little bit of progress toward my goal, and then I lose motivation and go straight back to the start. A little bit of progress toward my goal, lose motivation, go straight back to the start. It might be with your meditation. It might be with your work-life balance. It might be with, it doesn't really matter. But typically, the pain starts to motivate me in the beginning. I make some change. I move away from the pain. It's no longer painful, so the motivation disappears, and I go right back to the start. We call this short-term pain and long-term suffering. Short-term pain relief and long-term suffering. So short-term, I get relief from my pain, but long-term, I suffer because I just stay stuck in this cycle. Guaranteed way to just feel kind of dissatisfied for the rest of your life. That's away from motivation. Toward motivation, guys, and when you get this right, everything will change. This is really, really, really powerful. Okay, so this here would be your best life. Let's say that's your best life. That's whatever you're trying to achieve or change in your life. This here is you. Now, instead of focusing on the things that I don't want, instead of waking up and going, I hate this body, I hate this job, I hate this life, I hate this relationship or lack of relationship, I hate this whatever, instead of focusing on the things that we don't want, toward motivation, we begin concentrating and drawing my attention and intention toward the thing that I do want. So instead of waking up in the morning going, I hate this body, I need to lose weight, I want to lose 10 kilos, I want to lose 10 kilos, I want to lose 10 kilos, and getting exactly what we want, which is to want to lose 10 kilos, but not actually losing it. Instead of that, what we do is go, oh, wow, I can't wait to actually be at this particular weight, or I can't wait to actually have a mind that's really clear, or I can't wait to feel comfortable and confident and satisfied. I can't wait to have more time for me. I can't wait to feel more joy. What might that feel like? And what does that person do today? How does that person speak to themselves, treat themselves? How does that person move through the world? Yeah, and see now, if you guys even just sit with that energetically, if rather than focusing on what I don't want, I'm now kind of going, wow, what does that person do? Even if I don't take any action, at least it's going to feel more pleasant because at least now I'm thinking about things that are enjoyable. Even if I don't lose the weight, right? And I just think about how great I'm going to feel when I do, at least I've had a good day, right? Now, for most people, when I couple this with action, they get what they want. Yeah. Now, there are a lot of reasons which I'm about to share with you that doesn't always happen. But when we do this correctly, following our 4-step process, this becomes who you are. This becomes your new normal. And you wake up in the morning going, yes, like I really like who I am, and this is who I'm moving toward. So incredible, so amazing. I have an example here of a dear client who's now a friend, Michelle Perry. And again, this is a physical transformation one, guys, because it's really difficult to show you in a photo what it looks like to transform your life from the inside out. But I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen this before. This is a DEXA scan. It's a really flattering, not X-ray of your body. Yeah, and so the blue is obviously bone, that's your skeleton. The red is lean mass, so that's what we call muscle mass. Pink in here is organs, and the yellow and orange is body fat. Okay, so you can see Michelle's carrying the body fat around her midsection. She had come to us after she's had really big stuff happen in her life. So, you know, a big emotional pain, I guess, and she used food as a way to abandon herself, right? And she didn't want to feel those feelings. She didn't want to feel that stuff. So she started looking outside of herself for food to try and change that. Yeah, she's about 165 centimeters. She was up over 130 kilos. So she was a big girl. She started following the away from motivation. She was really, really dedicated. I mean, really dedicated. She had a massive life event which motivated her to change. Yeah, and so she started that away from motivation, that one that I was talking about, trying to get away from pain. And so she basically shamed herself and beat herself up to get into the 90s. So she lost about 40 kilos, which was amazing and which was epic. But she couldn't get any further. This was that outside-in approach. She's like, you know, if I can just beat myself up, if I can just force myself onto this diet, if I can just make myself do that. And she got stuck and plateaued in the 90s. Now, that's still a life-changing amount of weight, but it wasn't what she was looking for. Right, stuck there. What we did is we began working with her, and we started going from the inside out. We started connecting her to her values, connecting her to what was really important to her. At the time, she wanted to create a family, you know, and there were health issues and there was stuff going on there which stopped her from doing that. And so we began, you know, why are we doing this? Like getting connected to who I am on the inside and quietening that mind that constantly wanted to beat her up, and her joy and her spark began to return. You know, and she found purpose and meaning in her life, both within her job and then also in her training, in her exercise. And she stopped doing exercise, but, you know, was just trying to smash herself and beat herself up. And the weight started to come off. Like from the 90s, it started to come down further. She ended up going on to have 2 children. You know, if you meet her now, and I still see her, I'm actually catching up with her tomorrow. She just has, when I met her, she just had this pain about her and this stress about her. And if you meet her now, she just has this real lightness about her and kindness about her and just warmth. And physically, she's transformed absolutely, but it's the inside that makes the biggest difference, to be honest. So this was the before one. This was after she'd lost, you know, 40-ish kilos. You guys want to see the after DEXA scan? I know you do. So this is the after, and this was 10 weeks working with us. 10 weeks working with us for the, or 10 or 12 weeks working with us for the, you know, combining inner work with her nutrition and diet. So it just kind of happened. Yeah, pretty breathtaking result to actually see that picture, because there's basically no fat on her. And I'm about to show you the real photo, and you can see there's literally no fat on her. So that was a before. Not happy, dissatisfied, really high achiever, had a really good job, I'm killing it. And that was the after. Epic, right? And you can see there's no fat on those legs. Like, pretty damn amazing. So yeah, guys, so this is some ideas around what is possible when we start doing our inner work. Okay, step 2, guys, is in your head. And this is for people that, you know, I hear have a head that's really, really loud or overthinking, really common, particularly around high-functioning humans, is that we're stuck in our heads. And I love the quote, the mind is a great servant, but a terrible master. And it's so true. This will change your life, guys. Learning this stuff and understanding this, honestly, will blow your mind. get ready. So do you know how many thoughts you have in a day? So science, it's kind of something that's difficult to measure, so no one can really agree, but it's somewhere between about 40 and 80,000 per day. I don't know, that's a big number, but it doesn't matter. Let's call it between 40 and 80,000 thoughts per day, right? That's a lot of thoughts. Now, the exciting part, or the, I guess, interesting part, is that by the age 35, 90% of those thoughts, and if we go somewhere in the middle and call it 60,000 a day, 90% of those 60,000 thoughts are going to be the exact thoughts that you had yesterday. That blew my mind when I worked that out. So by the time I'm 35, 90% of my thoughts are the same ones that I had yesterday. Crazy, all right? That means that 90% of the decisions that I make, 90% of the things that I think about myself, others, the world around me, are the exact same as yesterday. Now, if yesterday was the best day ever and you've been having the best day ever for the last couple of decades, please don't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing. If you have everything you want in your life, please do not change anything, because that 90% is working in your favor. If, however, you have patterns in your life that are holding you back, or you have experiences in your life where I don't get what I want, or I keep getting stuck at this thing, or I keep doing the things and I'm not ending up where I want to be, then maybe we need to look at those 90% of your thoughts which are leading to that we're not even really aware of in most cases. So amazing. Like I said before, and this is so important, you only have, your mind only has one goal always. Like every single choice you've ever made, your mind's goal is only to move away from an unpleasant emotion or feeling and toward a pleasant emotion or feeling. Yeah, so it's only goal. Every decision you've ever made in your entire life, move away from unpleasant, move toward pleasant. Think about it. Should I have a coffee this morning? Yes or no? Well, yeah, I want energy. So I want to move away from the unpleasantness of not having energy and move toward having energy. What shoes should I wear this morning? Right? Now, you think you don't think about it, but you do think about it, because you're not going to wear your slippers to work because you will have an unpleasant emotion, more than likely. So I'm going to wear those particular shoes because I'll have a pleasant emotion. When you buy something, whether you realize it or not, your mind goes, is this going to improve my status or lower my status? Is this going to increase my status or lower my status? Now you go, no, I don't care. I'm not concerned with status at all. Bullshit. Even the people that aren't concerned with status are concerned with status. Even the person, the doctor that drives the Camry is concerned with status because he's buying that Camry because he doesn't want to appear to be the doctor that drives the Porsche. Yeah. Very rarely is our mind, any decision, it's always to move toward a pleasant emotion, away from unpleasant emotion. And then in addition to that, our minds are constantly evaluating our status and seeing where we fit into the hierarchy within our own mind. Okay, really, really important. Okay, and so over time, these thoughts become what are known as neural pathways. So they're basically like freeways or train tracks in your mind, which over time, my mind starts to wire little neurons together, and then they decide, okay, this is the way we do this behavior. This is the way we do this thing. When I get stuck with this problem or faced with this decision, this is what we do. And this is how that 90% becomes the 90%. It's like every time I don't know about you guys, but like every time you go to the bathroom, sit on the toilet, you feel like, oh, I need to pull out my phone now. It's kind of weird if I don't pull out my phone now. Don't say you don't, because I know you probably do. And that's a neural pathway in my brain. So I sat down and my mind's like, oh, I need something to do now. And so I'm looking at my phone. And if I don't have my phone, it feels weird. That's a neural pathway in my brain. Now that's a pretty irrelevant option, or example, but we have neural pathways which are affecting major parts of our lives. Okay. And this is a simplified version of that, guys, because there's literally millions of them, but they're like these little pathways in my head that then will dictate my behavior if I'm not consciously aware of it, and if I'm not doing the work to change it, or I guess parent myself through it. So a really good example would be brushing my teeth. This is an example of a neural pathway that most of us should have. When was the last time you thought about how to brush your teeth? Like actually considering how to do it. Decades, right? It's been decades since you've done that. When you're a kid, you kind of got it all over the mirror, and mum played up because you were spilling it everywhere and making a mess. And, since then, it hasn't been an issue. Since then, I don't know how. You don't even think about it, but your teeth get brushed hopefully twice a day at least. It just happens. Initially, though, I had to wire all the little neurons in my brain together to go pick up the toothbrush, apply the toothpaste this way so I don't get too much or too little. Maybe run under the tap for a second, brush in a circular motion and twisting motion, and we do it for X amount of time. That was all little neurons wiring together. Now you wake up and it just happens. Now, what I would ask you guys is to go, hang on a second. What I want you to do today is brush your teeth with the opposite hand than what you're used to. Just consider that now. Don't even try it. I mean, you might try it, just even pretend to try it, but just think about doing it. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel strange, right? But there's no real consequence to your life other than it just feels a bit awkward short term. Now, for many of us, we have these neural pathways. We have neural pathways which are serving us, like brushing our teeth, like driving to work, like learning how to drive a car. But then we also have neural pathways in all areas of our lives, with regards to our health, with regards to our mindset, with regards to our doubts and our fears, with regards to what happens when that fear of failure is on the line, with regards to what happens when something comes up in relationship. Right? We have these neural pathways in our brains that say, go this way. We're going to follow that path. We're going to do the thing that we've always done. Then we end up with the result that we've always gotten. And therefore, we're living out a version of what we did yesterday. We do that for long enough and that becomes our destiny. What I'm saying to you guys is that we can change that. Yeah. Now, it's not necessarily easy. It's a little bit uncomfortable, the same way that it's uncomfortable brushing your teeth with the opposite hand, but it is very, very simple. And I'm about to share some of that with you now. This particular slide right here, guys, when people deeply understand this, life is never the same. And I really, really mean that. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. When you have your thoughts, where do you have your thoughts? Where do you think? And I don't mean like when I'm in the car on the way home, but what part of your body do you think in? And for most of us, we'll say my head or my mind. Correct. And it's in my mind. My next question would be is, what is a thought? Like, what is a thought? How do I know I'm having a thought? Well, they just pop into my head and there's just like this voice that's constantly commentating my life. Yeah, for most people. And a thought, as far as science can tell us, is a chemical. Yeah, so there's a chemical for guilt, there's a chemical for shame, there's a chemical for joy, happiness, lust, greed, guilt, whatever, right? There's literally thousands of them. Chemicals that form in my mind and we identify as thoughts. Now, how do I differentiate, really important question, how do I differentiate between a happy thought, a sad thought, a glad thought, a mad thought, a bad thought? How do I tell the difference if it's just a chemical that's firing in my brain? Now, 9 out of 10 people will say to me, oh, by the way you feel, by the way it makes me feel. Absolutely. So the thought has now released a chemical, now I'm having a feeling. This is the question that a lot of people get wrong, is where do I have my feelings? And again, not in the car on the way home or in the nightclub on the weekend or the bar or the holiday. Where do I have my feelings within myself? Now, some of you clever people might say in my heart or in my tummy, and the answer would be in my body. Yeah, really, really important is that, and if you said in my mind, that's not your fault, that's probably what you've been taught, but my mind cannot feel anything. My mind has never had a feeling in its life. My mind just creates the chemicals that then sends the chemical response, the chemical rather, to my body, and my body now feels that as a feeling. Okay, so let's say I have a thought of guilt. Let's say I have a thought that creates the chemical of guilt in my mind. The chemical gets released, I now feel guilty in my body. My body, its innate wisdom then sends a signal back up to my mind and says, ooh, we're feeling guilty. You need to now think about all of the stuff that you need to feel guilty for in your life. And guess what? Then my mind creates more of a chemical of guilt, which then leads to a feeling of guilt, which then triggers it straight back up. And around 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 it goes until I reach this state of being, right? Or normal state, we might call it. And this is from Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is from Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, guys. And this state of being is now what we would call my normal state. So for those of you guys that have someone in the office or your family or someone that you've encountered in your life that is kind of like a sour old bitch, right? Everyone knows one sour old bitch. You know, nothing ever right. Everything's always a problem. She wasn't born that way. What happened is she thought sour old thoughts for long enough to have sour old feelings. Over time went round and round and round and round and round and round, that her normal state of being is now that I feel sour and old and everything sucks. You know, that person who used to be really outwardly confident or have lots of goals for themselves or their lives or things that they want to achieve or experience, and then over time has gradually started to what we would call abandon themselves, and now doesn't have the confidence that they used to have. Now doesn't feel like it might not be possible for them anymore. You know, now kind of starts to feel like they're holding themselves back and curbing themselves. Yeah, this is what happens, guys. They think thoughts that let themselves down or abandon themselves for long enough that they have those feelings over and over and over again, that now that's my normal. You know, and those 90% of thoughts are now getting played out in this state of being. You know, for us, we kind of take it one step further and we kind of say this mind is like a little 5-year-old kid that's constantly trying to think its way out of a feeling. And so it's going to tell me, and it's going to build that neural pathway that's going to come up with the easiest, most, you know, time efficient, energy efficient way. And if that is avoid the thing, if that is don't have the conversation, if that is, you know, don't put myself out there, then guess what? Over time, I'm going to start to do that, and that's going to become normal. And now my mind is running my life. And this is how we get stuck in our heads, because my mind's constantly trying to avoid an unpleasant feeling and move toward a pleasant one. Yeah. And this is how I get stuck with this little 5-year-old that's constantly chattering, commentating, giving me feedback on my life. And I know you guys relate to this. You know, I know you guys relate to that, having that head that just won't shut up and often doesn't have very much kind to say. Now, the downside of this, because this mind can't actually feel anything, is that my body is like another little 5-year-old kid who's kind of just been beat up for the last couple of decades. Anytime a feeling comes up, fear, for example, loneliness, shame, guilt, starts to come up, and we want to push that down. Pretend that's not there. I don't want to feel that. That's not there. No, 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 no. Don't want to look at that. Don't want to look at that. Go back up to my head. And my head wants to think its way out of it. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go achieve more stuff. Or we're going to do more stuff. Yeah. When in reality, down here, my body's having a more feeling. I just start to feel, oh, I can't do this. This is really hard. You're ignoring me. This is horrible. I know when I talk about this stuff, some people start to get emotional. Some people start to go, whoa, I haven't felt that in a really long time, if ever. Wow, I really get what you're talking about, Ant. Some people might be sitting here going, oh, I know there's something in it, but, you know, oh. And for you guys, the next slide's for you. But just beginning to recognize that this mind that's constantly at me probably needs some parenting, you know, because the problem is that my body's having a feeling going on down here that my head, or that I've been trying to avoid. You know, the result of that is that my mind's constantly going to come up with solutions, and they're probably going to be the same solutions as yesterday to try and fix that feeling. Yeah. For most of us, what happened is we've been taught to look outside of us for that solution. Okay, so if I just rearrange the things outside of me, it'll all be better. You know, if I just get through this next little bit, it'll all be better. You know, if I just get on the holiday, then I can relax and let go. Blah, 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 ad nauseum to the, you know, infinite number of options there. Problem is, it does not work. Yeah, I don't ever actually deal with what was really going on, which is down here, I'm feeling unpleasant or there's some fear. You know, I don't ever actually get to the root of the problem because I'm constantly trying to fix the outsides, and I haven't even considered that it might be just something going on inside of me. And over time, that gets worse. And if I continue to abandon myself, that gets worse. I'm going to talk to you guys about that in a moment. And so now my mind is running my life. So guys, want you to know that it is absolutely 100% possible to change this. This cycle here, you can change, and you can get it to the point where my new state of being, my new normal state, is one that actually facilitates the type of life that I want, right? And imagine if 90% of your unconscious thoughts, 90% of your thoughts that you weren't even thinking, were on autopilot toward the person that you want to be. That is really powerful. That's where I no longer require motivation. That's where I no longer require inspiration. That's where I just move towards my goals. Every day I wake up and I'm moving towards my goals, not because I'm trying to pump myself up to do it, but just because that's what I have been doing for the last however many days. And that's how I live now. So amazing, so powerful. But, you know, you see those people who just get it. You see those people that just do the things that you want to be able to do, that you look up to or aspire to be. This is what is happening. This is what is happening. They are living from this normal state and this state of being, and we can teach you guys how to do that. Couple of people who experienced this. So Belinda Winter, she's a partner of a law firm here in Brizzy, probably one of the most high functioning humans I've ever met. She is an absolute weapon, just gets stuff done. And, you know, has a very, very, very successful life worthy of admiration, or worthy of imitation, I should say. And, you know, in her physical fitness, health, relationship, children, work, her entire life, like killing it. And it was really, really awesome to apply some of this stuff to her life. And, you know, her words were, and it reminded me that self-care and acceptance and high performance are not mutually exclusive, right? So she was already performing at a very, very high level, but that self-care and self-acceptance were part of that. And in fact, when I practiced that stuff, my performance improves. I found his methods to be reliable, the private setting of the coaching to be valuable, and his authentic and down-to-earth communication style refreshing. So that's really, really important, guys, because a lot of us worry about what other people think. A lot of us worry about, you know, and what would it mean to kind of work with a coach or get help, or, you know, am I going to have a decline in status if I were to do that? And we get that. And I guess a big part of what we do is that we're very discreet, we're very private. We wouldn't have the type of clients that we have. You know, we wouldn't have the level of clients that we have if we weren't. So any work that you were to ever do with us is 100% private and discreet, and no one ever needs to know that. You know, I think what typically happens is you end up saying, you know what, I actually want to post my stuff, and I want you to post my stuff because I actually feel totally safe to be myself, like these guys do. And yeah, please share it with me. Please share it for me. So Mel, it really is life-changing. It's amazing how you can change your life for the better just by recognizing and changing a few stories you've told yourself for years. Just like that on the wall there, guys. Those of you who can see, if you don't like your story, rewrite that shit. That's one of the big things we're about, is, you know, changing those thoughts, changing those patterns of behavior, changing those ideas about myself so I can be, do, and have whatever it is that I want. Yeah, highly recommend. You can't unlearn this shit. Absolutely. Once you learn this, and once we get into your mind and change some of those things, it's the type of stuff that you're just not going to be able to unlearn, which is amazing. Lebo is, if you're ready to grow as a person and become better, this is a team that will back you all the way. Probably the most humble testimonial I ever heard. Lebo is an incredible human being. She's actually, for those of you guys that live in Australia, she's actually one of the scientists responsible for bringing us our flu vaccine every single year. So super, super, super intelligent person, really, really humble. And it was so amazing to see someone with such an incredible mind be able to apply inner work principles to literally, you know, change the experience of her life, even though externally everything was awesome. So yeah. Step 3, and guys, this is probably the foundation for our work, and this is the foundation for, and I know I've been saying it a lot, but honestly, this is the one thing when you guys get this, it will like 100% change everything for you. Like, please make sure you're listening to this and pay attention to what's coming up for you. Right. So anytime I want something, so let's say I have a goal, and the goal is to make $1 million, have a healthy relationship, holiday 5 times a year, progress in my career, lose weight, have confidence, put myself out there, don't care, whatever the goal is, right? And let's say I think about it a lot and I really want to achieve it. Might even cry myself to sleep over it sometimes. But I'm not doing what it takes to get there. I want this, but I'm not doing what it takes to get there. It's because I'm more connected to that. Right? So I want this, but I'm more connected to that. Now that, in every single client I've ever worked with, right, myself included, that's a few thousand people now. Yeah, that thing that I'm more connected to is always going to be a fear. Now, it's not a fear of heights. It's not a fear of spiders. It's not a fear of snakes. But it is going to be a fear of a feeling. Now stay with me, because you might be sitting there going, oh man, really, is this what he's going to talk about? I don't have any fear. What's he talking about? Or you might be sitting there going, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Or you might be sitting there going, oh shit, he's going there. And the good news is that as human beings, we all have 3 core fears which drive our behavior, right? So I'm going to cover all three. We all have all three of them. I would be trying to look for the one which sticks out most for you. This will change your life. This is the reason you are not where you want to be. Please hear that. This, what I'm about to share with you, these next few fears, is the reason. One of them is going to be a primary that sticks out for you, and they're the reason that you are not where you want to be. First core fear is what we call a fear of powerlessness. So I just hate feeling out of control. I hate it when things don't go my way. I hate it when when I get to the airport and my flight's been delayed. I hate feeling out of control. I hate it when I'm sitting in traffic and I'm stuck and I need to be somewhere and I'm late. Yeah, and I can't change that. I hate it when someone doesn't love me back. Feel powerless, feel out of control. I hate it when I can't control my boss or my career trajectory or what's happening in the market. I hate that. I hate feeling out of control. Yeah, horrible feeling. Now, nobody likes it, guys. Let's be really, really clear. Let's be really, really honest. That is normal and that is healthy. Nobody wakes up in the morning, like I said, saying, I can't wait for everything to go wrong. Makes perfect sense. Yeah. The problem, though, or I guess where the problems arise for people with this fear of powerlessness is that when we try to avoid, so having the powerlessness there isn't an issue. The issue arises when I go to my mind, like we said, to move away from an unpleasant emotion, i.e. powerless, to move away from that by taking my power back. Yeah, so I want to try and take my power back or control my life or control people around me or control things around me. So often perfectionists run this. Often people that are really controlling or micromanaging or control freaks, they say, I'm a control freak, and joke about it. It's like, that causes you massive suffering. That causes you massive pain. And so they'll try to control particular areas of their lives. Now, to some degree, they will have success with that, but it will also cause them emotional suffering. So some of the character traits include that micromanaging or being inflexible with plans or having a really strict adherence to times, rules, or structure to the point of stress, procrastination or sitting on decisions, withholding sex or using sex as manipulation, emotional eating, drinking, or hyper control over certain areas of our lives. Yeah. Stress around how things should be. Like if it should be this way, it should be that way, it should be whatever. What's really happening is you're feeling powerless. Yeah, and you're feeling out of control. Now, again, nothing wrong with that feeling. The issue arises when I try to take my power back by going to my mind for a strategy. So I want to control people, places, things around me. The problem is, though, guys, that in every single case, long term, what I'm going to feel is exactly what I try to avoid, which is powerless. So that might be the person that tries to save the relationship when I know deep down the relationship is ending or the person isn't in love with me, but I'm going to try really, really hard and do lots of stuff and be this person and change and blah, blah, blah. Short term, you might feel in control. I book a holiday, I take them there, I be a really good person, I cook them dinner, yeah? But what happens is long-term, the relationship ends up falling apart anyway, and I feel exactly what I was trying to avoid, which is powerless and out of control. Okay, really common one is with food. People, had a really tough day at work, work sucks, and no one comes to me and says, I feel really powerless, so I've smashed a packet of Tim Tams. Like, it doesn't look like that, but it looks like I've had a tough day, things didn't go my way, I've got a healthy meal at home ready to go, but stuff that I'm just going to get takeaway on the way home. Short term, I feel in control. Short term, I eat the food, I might even enjoy it. Long term, and for many people, it's not that long after, they go, oh, why did I do that? That wasn't one of my goals. That sucks. I feel powerless again. That's the first one. Second core fear. This is the one when I go to corporates and do presentations, everyone looks at the floor and pretends that I'm not talking to them. However, I want you to know that every single one of us has this fear, myself included, right? And it's one of our core fears. This is the one that is, I guess, the big stuff is kind of like, what happens if they leave me, or what happens if they cheat on me, or what happens if I die alone, or what might others think of me? The day-to-day stuff, I could never do that. I could never wear that. I could never say that. I could never post that online. I could never be fully true to myself because of what they might think about me. For many of us, we don't even know who they are. But it's enough to stop us being fully true to ourselves. Now, really, really, really important. This is healthy that we have this fear. Of course, we care what other people think about us. Of course, we don't want to be alone. We are herd mammals, right? So we're herd mammals. That means we need each other to survive. Without the love or the connection to or the support of the herd, i.e. my tribe, i.e. other humans, I will die. if we took it back, to Paleolithic times, 1,000 years ago or whatever, on the plains of Africa, if I was abandoned by the herd and ostracized and kicked out of the team or the herd or the tribe, I was going to die. Yeah. So these days, if I don't fit in with my workmates or my peers or my family or my partner's family or whatever it is, it's going to trigger a fear in me that I might be abandoned. And that fear of abandonment might show up like I'm unloved or I'm unlovable at its core, or I'm never going to meet someone, or what happens if they cheat on me, or they couldn't really love me for me. That's all ties back to this fear of abandonment. The other stuff might be I might lose my job, or I might not be accepted by the team. That is that fear of abandonment as well. Now, really important, like I said, it's healthy to have that. That is normal. What is not healthy? This is so critical. What is not healthy is when, in an effort to avoid this feeling of abandonment, when in an effort to avoid this feeling of being unloved or unlovable, I make a decision or take action, or I go to my mind for a strategy that makes me abandon myself. Right? So I want to avoid abandonment and I end up abandoning myself. Every time I abandon myself, I lose a bit of self-esteem, I lose a bit of self-respect, I lose a bit of self-worth. What does abandoning myself look like? Well, that's like bloody endless, but things like abandoning myself with food, sex, drugs, shopping, working, being a really good friend, being a really good partner, being a really good worker, basically not having the conversation that I know I need to have, not saying the thing that I know I should, not sticking up for myself, not being true to myself, not wearing the thing that I know I really like to and doing what I would just to fit in. Holding myself back in any area of my life. These are all examples of abandoning myself. And like I said, guys, every time we abandon ourselves, we lose our own self-respect. Through our actions, what we're saying is what you think of me means more than what I think of me. And I guarantee you are doing it in some way, shape, or form. 100%. It's the degree to which you're doing it, which is going to determine how much happiness and how much contentment you have in your life. And if you're abandoning yourself a lot, I hate to say it, but you shouldn't feel good because you're not loving yourself. You're treating yourself really, really poorly. You should feel like shit. You shouldn't be confident. You shouldn't be, you are lovable, but you shouldn't feel lovable because you're treating yourself as though you're unlovable. So it's really, really important, guys, that we consider what the opposite of that might be. And that's what we call honoring ourselves, and that's a big part of our program and what we teach. So that's core fear number 2. It's the one when we go through the whole energy in the room shifts and everyone goes, oh shit, he's talking to me. No, but he's not. I'm going to pretend I'm not, because the people around me, they can't know this about me, because if they knew this about me, they might not like me, they might leave me, they might abandon me, I might die. And I say it and everyone laughs, but deep down you know it's true. If you can gain mastery over this, guys, everything changes. Third core fear, and this is a fear of worthlessness, and this would be my primary one. So we all have one that sticks out the most. Yeah? This is the kind of the one where the theme song for us is where my head says, as I am, I'm not good enough. So I need to look a certain way, dress a certain way, have a certain amount of staff, possessions, achievements, knitting champion status, religion, whatever. Outsides, basically. I need to achieve a certain amount of outsides in order to one day be happy and content, or one day feel like I'm successful. I need to do more, be more, have more, be a better person somehow. Right? Now, there's nothing wrong with, like I said earlier, there's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve stuff. There's nothing wrong with wanting to progress. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a better version of yourself. That's all awesome. But if I'm saying that as I am, I'm somehow worth less or less than or not good enough as I am now, and I need to be better in order for me to love or accept myself, then I'm not going to achieve it. I might get more stuff and I might achieve more external stuff, success or whatever, whatever. And that might be, like I said, knitting champion 2019. We're not necessarily just talking material stuff, right? Whatever my mind deems as valuable. If I'm postponing my value or my inherent worth until I get that stuff, then you will be let down. We're very, very shame-based. We're very, very hard on ourselves. We might get, 10 bits of feedback, and 9 of them are really positive feedback, and 1 of them is a bit of negative feedback. We always focus on that one bit of negative, not the 10. And after a while, our kind of experience of life is, even when I do my best, and this is within ourselves, even when I do my best, it's still not enough. Even when I achieved the result that I wanted to, I could have done a little bit more, or I now need to do a little bit more. And over time, motivation's going to wane. Why? Because it bloody should. Because you're not being kind to yourself, and that's not loving. So really, we work with some very, like I said earlier, some really successful people, externally successful people, and a lot of them are driven by this fear of worthlessness. And they've used it to achieve success in their lives. So we're not necessarily saying it's all bad. However, none of them feel truly, deeply satisfied, content, happy within themselves until they master this fear. And like I said, we all have all three anyway. And when you master this one, that's when that fear of failure starts to go. That's when that caring what other people and comparing to other people and constant striving and never arriving, when that starts to stop and go away. And you go, you know what? I just do this because I love it. I'm just going to put myself out there because I like who I am and I want a lot out of life. I know who I am and I'm willing to express that. So powerful, so life-changing. So that's that third core fear. And I guess the good news is, guys, is that these can be overcome. And the really good news is, guys, is that if we just focus on that, like if I just focus on these stuff that I've covered here, you will change your life, right? We all have all three of those fears, but there is a primary, and that one that sticks out the most, if you just were to focus on that, if you were to just bring your attention on where am I abandoning myself, or where am I shaming or beating myself up because I have that less than or worthlessness, right? Or where am I trying to control everything in my life and not accepting that I'm powerless? Like if you just focus on that, literally 80% of your problems will disappear. If you then also introduce the stuff that we're talking about, the neural pathways and the 90% of my thoughts, if you were to introduce that, then everything just leapfrogs to the next level. It's insane, right? If you can overcome these fears, right, and all three of them, you will feel safe to be yourself. You will no longer hold yourself back, and you will be free and empowered. And that is a feeling that no matter how much you achieve, you cannot get to unless you do this work. Right? It doesn't just heal the past, it makes a new person. It absolutely does. You find purpose and meaning in your life. And I'm not just saying these words lightly, guys. This is the real deal. Like this is the real deal transformation. It opens up a certain type of living, like we spoke about, that next level living, that is only accessed through doing this inner work. 100%. And the result is feeling happy and content every single day. Little disclaimer on that, it doesn't mean everything's always going to go your way, because it won't. Life is still going to life you. However, within yourself, you will experience happiness and contentment every single day. Genuine contentment, not short-term, short-lived, genuine, game-changing. So I remember Will came to us, Dr. Will, and like he said, at first I wasn't ready for the change. Like he was resistant, but he certainly has. I feel transformed. I'm the controller of my life, but I'm so grateful for the team for enhancing the way I care for myself. Absolutely. Beck here, wow. If you knew Beck's story, you would fall off your chair. Incredible human being. I've never seen someone so. She's been with us for like 2 years now, if not 3 years now. Just, yeah, life-changing, massive understatement. Literally transformed her entire life from someone who was in a pretty unpleasant place to now, pretty epic, pretty amazing. This team of passionate and dedicated professionals will ensure you experience your most beautiful life and realize your future goals. Amazing. Love that, Amanda. And it's true. And it's true. So guys, so far what we've covered is, number one, is that away from motivation is a surefire way to stay stuck, like we spoke about. Stop focusing on what you don't want and get clear on what you do. Really, really important. Number two, as long as I'm letting my mind control my life, the best I can expect is short-term pain relief, right? So just trying to avoid feelings constantly. Long-term, that is going to make us suffer. So what we want to focus on is changing those 90%, right? That's a big part of the work we do here. We have a 4-step system that's going to show you guys how to do that. Number three is the only thing, excuse me, holding me back from everything I want is my inability to overcome fear. Literally every problem in your life will be connected to a fear that you're not willing to face or accept. If you can overcome those 3 core fears, you will be free and have everything you want. That's a promise. something like kind of Dr. Will before, like he said, you know, is well, a lot of people might think some really hard shit. I've had lots of really tough stuff happen in my life, guys. Honestly, I've had really tough stuff happen in my life too. Like I shared earlier, some of the stuff I've heard clients experience. Everyone on our team has a story of lived experience. That's our main qualification here. That's what we believe is our most valuable qualification. Also, is that we are a team of lived experience. That means we have been through stuff and we have transformed it within ourselves, and we now have the lives that we want to live. That is where it is at, right? And so there's very little we haven't heard, seen, worked with before, honestly. And I know you've been through some hard shit. We've all been through some hard shit. We've all got a story. We've all got stuff. And I know you want to overcome that. And if I can just say, your shit is going to feel like the most painful in the whole world, because that is what is happening to you. My shit is going to feel like the most painful in the whole world because it is happening to me. That is your experience. That is my experience. And that is cool. And that is how it's supposed to be. So I hear you. And I feel that. And I'm telling you, we got you. It's not a good time. I've got to get through this next bit. So classic. Yeah, I'm just going to postpone my happiness. Like everything I want is right here. I know this is really important. I really like you guys and I really like what you're about, but I've just got to get through this next period of life. It's really, really busy. You are kidding yourself. And I'm going to call you on it. You are postponing everything you want by just getting through this next bit. And if just getting through this next bit was actually going to work, that would have already. Because you've been getting through next bits for decades now. Stop kidding yourself. I don't have the money at the moment. Yeah, really, really common. And for some people, we don't have the money. You know? However, I would kind of say, all right, where are you spending your money? How important is this to you? You know, and I'm not even selling you anything yet, but a lot of people are sitting there going, I really like what he's about, but I don't want to work with these guys. You know, it's an expensive program, I'm sure. You know, he works with all these high functioning humans, and you know what? We're not cheap. It is investment in your health. However, we will not turn anyone away if money is the only factor, if that's the only thing holding them back, if they're really willing and ready to do the work. So that doesn't count. Your excuse is not valid. I believe it's possible for them, but it's not for me. That was me. Maybe for you guys, maybe for those guys that I see on the screen, maybe it's possible for them, but you don't understand. I'm this unique little snowflake. I can't get it together myself. That was me. Bullshit is what I'm here to tell you, because it is possible for you. Because if I can do it, and if we can do it, and if the thousands of people we've had come through our program can do it, I guarantee you're no different. I mean, you are unique, but this process, if you follow it, will work. I've tried talking to people before and it was horrible. The number of times I have heard that, I mean, we've had probably close to 20 psychologists come through our program because of the way that we teach our inner work. And the number of people that we've had say, I went to a counselor once, I went to a psychologist once. And just to be really clear, guys, we don't do psychology or counseling here. That is not what we're about. That is not what we offer. We do inner work, right? Which is getting you connected to yourself. And you already have the answers within yourself. And we will coach you to do that. We will coach you to bring out that person inside of you that you know is in there, or that you have felt connected to at some point in time, but you don't know how to release. That's what we do. You know, and so this isn't about coming and talking about your problems. This isn't coming about, whinging about the past or complaining about the past. That's not what we do here. We'll help you work through stuff, absolutely. But this is very, very different to the experience. You've never experienced this before. This is a completely new opportunity. To share with you guys the 4-step pathway. So this is the 4 steps to living an awakened lifestyle. So the awakening part, it comes in these first 2. So this is your awakening. Level 1, know yourself, and level 2, clean house. This typically takes about 6 months. Yeah. So knowing yourself is about, weekly sessions with your coach where you come in, whether it's on Skype or come into the session here, into the office here if you're in Brisbane, and we start to go through all this stuff, right? And this, like, literally from the first session, you will notice positive change, like literally. Step 2 is cleaning house. So letting go of all the stuff that isn't working for me, and laying those new neural pathways. This is where that we start to change that 90% of the thoughts that I had yesterday, which are the same. This is where that starts to change, and we start to let go of all the stuff that isn't working for me. Level 3 is where we start to really make some real changes. It's, I'm parenting that mind, and my mind is now on my side. I'm in charge of my life. I'm feeling that. And I basically experienced self-acceptance for the first time ever. Like really, truly experienced self-acceptance for the first time ever. Amazing. Like when you're here, you're kind of flying. By here, you're flying. By here, it's just like, wow, now it's being myself. And so in my life, that starts to show up everywhere. So incredible, guys. And this is where we follow our process for life purpose. For a lot of people, they're not clear on that. And that doesn't mean that you're going to quit your job. That doesn't mean that you're going to leave your career. For some people it does, but that's not necessarily what we're saying about. But it's waking up with a sense of purpose, waking up every morning going, this is why I'm on this planet and this is what I'm working towards. And that makes me feel passionate and purposeful, right? It's literally life-changing. This is where we're happy to attend every single day. And that's the 4-step pathway. So guys, a couple more clients that have been through the program, and this team changed my life. I knew it was even possible to feel this happy and content. So exactly what we're talking about. So waking up happy is a choice. It used to be hard for me to not get up in the morning, especially at 4 a.m., which is early, but not anymore. I jump out of bed, but before my alarm, ready for the day. It's pretty amazing what happens when your emotions when your body and mind is healthy and happy. Absolutely. Just want to send some gratitude out into the universe. Out of my inner work, I'm reaping the rewards. Tony, this one was amazing. I'm feeling so happy, excited these days. I feel like I'm mentally and emotionally ready to enter a new phase in my life. I'm ready to grow and become a better version of myself thanks to my mentors, Anthony, Elizabeth, and Soraya. I can't express with enough gratitude how I feel for you all. Without your help in the program, I wouldn't feel where I would be today. I no longer feel abandoned or worthless as I once was, made by my family, friends, my ex-partner, and some work colleagues. I feel like I'm learning and growing with each choice I'm making. I've learned to say what and how I feel by setting healthy boundaries with my family, my friends, my relationship. I've been on dates. I also have a 90% better relationship with my father, which I didn't have before. I know life isn't straightforward, and I'll experience emotion situations, so that's self-responsibility, which is amazing. I feel my feelings, speak to myself with love and kindness as I would a child. Yeah. I don't care what people say about me. I know who I am, and I don't have to prove anything to anyone. So powerful, so amazing, and Tony holds a really dear place in my heart. So guys, that's the type of stuff that is possible here. And I guess, my question to you would be, do you have like an inner sense of like a dis-ease or an emptiness or a discontentment or a dissatisfaction? Like think about what it was that brought you here today. Think about what it was that brought you to this point to watch this training. So you clearly do. You wouldn't have sat through this unless you do. If doing the next thing was ever going to work, so by that I mean the next external, if listening to this head that has gotten you here in the first place, if doing that was going to work, wouldn't it have already, I guess is the question. I guess, and I'm fairly certain that you're a high-functioning human just like we are, so you make shit happen in your life. If it was going to be another 30-day cure or, getting more information by reading a book or just trying something on my own or whatever, like, how to do that and you get results in other areas of your life, right? Like, if that was going to work here, it would have by now also, wouldn't it? Like, you tell me, doing a bit of mindfulness or taking mental health day or pampering yourself or going on holidays, none of that ever really worked long term. Might have short term, escape. I'm really stressed. I'm really burnt out. I'm on the brink of burnout. Well, I'm going to take a quick break. Lots of people do that. And then they come back and do the same thing again. And then, sadly, they do that for a couple of decades and then really burn out and come to us. What I'm saying is if you're not there yet, you can skip that. And you can actually make the next couple of decades the best. And so I was going to say, guys, do you remember that agreement that we started at the start of this? Like, like I said, if you guys were going to have, if you guys had a feeling or had an experience with the stuff that I shared with you today, we agreed that you were going to take some action on that you were going to actually apply some of this stuff. And I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to do that now. All right, for 7 high-functioning humans this week, and I only do 7 in a week, I have this opportunity. I've actually booked one yesterday, so that's 6 remaining this week. Is a free one-on-one 60-minute coaching session with myself. This is like so valuable. That's for you with me to change your life. This is where we're going to go through and we're going to get clear on those specific fears for you. This is where I'm going to teach you how to actually apply this in your life. This is where you're going to leave with, rather than abandoning myself or learn, now I know that I've been abandoning myself. This is where you're going to leave with step-by-step process to what we would call honoring myself. Because when I begin honoring myself through my actions is when I build self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence. That's where I move towards that person that I want to be. Okay, this is what this session is about. For those of you guys that are clever, you'll actually type that in now and book it before they all fill up. Just go to that link there, type it in calendly.com/innerwork/call. If you missed it, that's okay. It might come back up again, but I just want to cover what this session isn't. Yeah, this session is not a hardcore sales pitch, because I hate that. Like, you're not getting in the call for me to try and sell you. Like, to be honest, I don't do that. We have plenty of clients. We're not hard up. We only want to work with people that are actually a perfect fit for what we do, right? It's not a hardcore sales pitch. It's about me delivering as much value as I can to you. What I need to be clear on, though, is this isn't a let's just dump all our problems on an session. This isn't about you coming in just dumping all your problems on me for an hour. Like, not the case. And to be honest, I'm not going to cop that. And I know for a lot of you wouldn't do that, but I just wanted to be really, really clear. It's not even a guarantee that we will work with you. Like I said, guys, we only work with people who are a fit for our business. So if you relate to this stuff, if you resonate for this stuff, if you identify with what we're talking about, chances are we are a fit. However, this coaching session will help us delve deeper into that and determine what's really going on for you. What this is about is that you will 100% have a breakthrough around your current situation. 100%. Like, that is absolutely certain. I will not let you get off the phone unless you feel clear and clarity and have a breakthrough around your situation. Yeah, you will gain clarity into what is holding you back and the specific next steps to take. You will know what to do. So like I said, this is about actually applying it. You will identify your primary fear and understand its antidote actions. So rather than just knowing that this is where I'm stuck, I'm abandoning myself, or this is where I'm stuck, I have the powerlessness or the worthless stuff running, you'll actually know the antidote action. So what do I need to begin doing to change that, to overcome that, right? If you are a fit, I will offer you an opportunity to join our program, absolutely. Yeah, if you're a fit and if we both feel like what we're going to do would be mutually beneficial, then yes, I will offer you an opportunity to join our program. I just asked, like, if all this 60-minute session did for you, and you've sat through this now, so you pretty much made a very big commitment, and I honor you for that. But if all this did for you, if all this 60-minute call did for you is give you clarity around precisely where you're holding yourself back and uncover the one thing that needs addressing, like if you just want to learn that one thing that you could actually take action on and I taught you how to take that action, or you left with a much greater understanding of yourself and how to change that mindset, if all this 60-minute session did for you, like this call, would that be worth jumping on the phone call with me? Like, would that be worth 60 minutes of your time? Of course it would. Like, you'd be mad not to, right? And this is where I'm going to do that kind of weird, that kind of awkward call out, because you know what? I know how it feels, because there's people that are sitting here going, oh, I don't know, should I, shouldn't I? Oh, like, I know for me, I sat there recently, I joined the $15,000 coaching program, and I was sitting there, I don't know, and this guy's, doing this awesome presentation. I don't know, am I going to be a fit, or is he going to work for me, or is it going to, am I going to actually take the action? And what I would urge you to do is, well, A, read Mel's testimonial here, but B, start, to just take that step, right? Like Mel said here, it's difficult to express how tightly wound and anxious I was when I started on my journey. Some examples: I was too scared and scarred to go to the gym. It was a really anxious and difficult experience for me. Now, this woman's a highly accomplished lawyer too, by the way. Negative self-talk about body image, things I would never say to a friend, I would say to myself on an hourly basis. Starting a new job and feeling inadequate and not good enough. And she was accomplished, waiting for them to figure out that I was not all that great. So that imposter syndrome, all of the external boxes of a successful life ticked. And she looked the part and was pleasant to be around, but inside I was a dull husk of a person. Unsure of what I actually want or think or like or enjoy, just following what I thought I should do. Having followed that path all my life, my intentions were so misguided and out of whack with what I truly value. I didn't even know what that was. How I described myself was anxious, guilty, scared, faking it. So despite those fears, she took the dive. The next 6 months involved peeling back the layers and layers of old stories and old fears, like we've spoken about, digging deeper and deeper and healing old wounds as I uncovered them. It wasn't always pleasant, and that's honest, right? There were tears. It got raw. It got honest, but it was cathartic and so very necessary. It happened slowly, and then all of a sudden, there would be an aha moment or an unlock. I'd move 3 steps ahead. Then I'd take a step backwards, and I'd be able to be back to a snail's pace. But I didn't stop. I immersed myself. It's only now that I look back at what I can see how far up the mountain I really am. And that's so true, guys. One small step at a time, one new action at a time, guidance from someone who's traveled the path before and can lead the way, but I still have to do the work. And that's right, guys. If you think we're going to fix you, you're wrong. We're not going to fix you. You're going to fix you. However, we're going to shine the torch on the path. Just like Mel said here, I shine the torch on the path. You walk the steps, you will get what you want. Now, the good news is that at the end of it, you know how to walk the path. You don't need anyone to shine the torch anymore. You don't need to do this work ever again because it's done and you did it for yourself and you reap the rewards of that. How I describe myself now: awakened, free, vibrant, joyful, and content. I'm more real, more vulnerable within myself and everyone around me. My relationships are deeper. I feel confident at work and I'm really enjoying it. I have clarity about why I do the things I do. I can exercise without fear. I can eat without heavy restriction or rules to determine if I've been good or bad that day. Tell me if you guys don't experience any of this, right? Like, I have low days like everyone and difficult moments, but I have new tools to handle them. I meditate, I exercise, I feel feelings, I am living. I've still got things I'd like to work on old habits and fears that no longer serve me, but I feel like I've done the work of 20 years in 6 months. Seriously. I know I've saved myself so much heartache and stress. The program far exceeded my expectation. It has actually been life-changing. It's been an emotional day today, marking the end of the best thing I could have done for myself. It's been the most powerful, healing, transformative 6 months I've ever had the pleasure of living. Thank you, Anne, my Eckhart, my teacher and friends. You have a great skill in caring what you do. Keep shining your light into the world. Onwards, the journey continues, and I'm really excited. So that was Mel. And so if you feel anything like Mel felt here initially before joining up, and she was scared. I remember having an initial conversation with her, one of the 60-minute calls, and she was scared. You know, she felt that fear, that pride, that uncertainty and doubt, like it was there. You know, she realized that her best thinking had actually got her to this point. You know, and what I would suggest to you guys is you listening to your mind has got you to this point where you want to change. Stop listening to it. We need to take a new path. Yeah, maybe for the first time ever, they took that leap of faith. Like Mel did, she took that leap of faith and began their inner work. Same for me. You know, what I would urge you guys to do, if you've sat this far, there's something inside of you that's brought you here, right? Book in your session now. Let's have the chat. Follow the link there. Go to that link. Pull out your phone. Type it into your browser, calendly.com/innerwork/call, and let's do this, right? This doesn't mean we're going to work together. This doesn't mean you're signing up for anything. If you are a fit, we will absolutely offer you an opportunity and a spot in our program, right? If you are a fit. If you're not, then that's okay too. You're just going to leave with your mind even more blown, right? But if you have that yearning inside of you, if there is fear or doubt holding you back, let's jump on a call. Like, you and I can have this conversation for 60 minutes and then you'll know the real deal. Okay? Follow that link, guys. Type it in now, screenshot it. What I'd suggest actually is do it right now before the calls book out for the week, actually, and do that and then turn up. Then that's the one thing I was also going to add, guys, is please make sure you do turn up, right? Like, please don't waste my time. I've got a lot of people that want to speak to me. We've got a lot of clients that want help. We've got a lot of people that really are willing to do this work. Turn up and let's have the chat. But right now, before I end the presentation, because we're about to finish, would be type in that link, guys, and do it. You know, are you gonna watch this far and not have a tailored session for yourself? Like, really? Like, come on, guys, that's crazy town. When is the best time to start? Well, you do anything significant and you'll wish you'd started sooner. Follow the link, guys. Type it in. Let's make it happen now. Go there to it now. It's been a real pleasure sharing this with you today. Like I said to you, this content here, hopefully you've taken away something really, really valuable. I know for the thousands of other people that have seen this prior to you in programs where they've paid multiple thousands of dollars to access it, it changes people's lives. Right? If you want to change your life, guys, follow that link there. Book your call. Let's have the chat. I'm really excited for those of you guys who have already signed up. Really excited to, walk you through this process, walk you through those 4 stages, and, have you join us on the program so you can become your best. Thank you for your time this evening, guys. I absolutely cannot wait to connect with you. Go have a good one. Peace. And if you don't follow me on Instagram or Facebook, please make sure you do now. Anthony Inner Work on Instagram and Awakened Lifestyles on Facebook. Go have a great day, guys. We pump heaps of free content on there all the time. Thanks, guys. Bye.